Hi.
Absolute value equations and inequalities.
Guys, this one's going to stress us out, but you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay, so we're solving equations, well, whatever, with inequalities involving absolute value. There.
Okay, here's your example. Again, we're doing the same thing right here. Make your straight line down, solve for x. However, in this case, it says
absolute value of x. So I know that absolute value can either be a positive or a negative.
Right.
Sorry, my head was itching really bad. Okay,
girl. So we want to know what x is.
They
Well, absolute value of x is 7. But what is x?
it could be 7 or negative 7.
Correct.
So you do both. And then when you graph it, so your answer is right there, and then when you graph it, you put 2 dots on.
One at negative 7, one at 7.
And since it's equal, it's just a dot. It's
Right.
closed.
No shading.
And no shading. Okay. Don't throw any shade.
No shade here. Not in Witterson.
Mm-mm. Okay. So, what are the solutions of the absolute value of x plus 3 equals 7? Solve it just like normal. Minus the 3 off both sides so that x is by itself. So I have the absolute value of 3.
Absolute value of x.
Equals 4. So I know that it can be 4 or negative 4. So my final answer that I would write, like on my homework, or excuse me, on my practice.
There you go.
Would be that she wrote in the corner, and then I put a dot on the both 4s, no shade.
So we can have x is 4 comma negative 4.
Could you do that?
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Me too.
What about?
I like that.
Okay.
That's super
I do too.
hip.
Okay. Okay. So this is saying plus or minus 4. That's how you say it. Plus or minus 4.
Or positive or negative.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
There it is.
So there you go. Blah. Do it again. So in this situation, we're going to add 5 to both sides. We're going to be left with the absolute value of n is equal to 3, right?
Oh yeah. Sorry. I thought it was negative.
Yeah. Okay, so
So
that means,
that is not your answer.
no, I'm not done yet. My answer is n equals positive or negative 3. Remember, we don't want to know what negative n is. We don't want to know what absolute value n is. We want to know what just plain n is. And then when we graph it, we put 2 dots on where the 3's are. No shade.
No shade. No shade for you.
Okay. Woo!
Okay.
This is a doozy.
Let's apply this.
Okay. You're at Old Settlers Parade, and your cousin is standing there, and she sees a float coming by, and it's 750 feet away from her.
Right.
Think of your cousin as 0 on the number line.
Okay.
She sees the float 750 feet away.
It's
The
coming.
float is traveling 158 feet per minute.
Right.
Okay. We want to know, okay, and then they've given us this equation. Distance equal, D for distance.
Yep.
Distance equals the absolute value of 750 minus 158t.
So I would always start with what they give us.
Yes.
Even though there's more words written, start here and then we can apply it.
Okay, now it says, at what times is the float 200 feet away from your cousin? So remember, cousin is 0. It starts to get your float out. So it's going to start traveling. So it's going to be, boom, 200 feet here. And then it's going to keep coming.
Later, cousin.
And then it's going to be right here, wave, and then it's going to keep going, and it's going to be at 200 on that side of me.
Right.
So it's going to be 200 positive and 200 negative, because remember,
Because cousin is 0.
yes.
Got it.
I loved your float, by the way.
Okay. I did too.
I
I didn't know to wave or throw out candy. Didn't know.
Duh, candy.
No.
Okay, so we are going, so distance is 200
Okay.
and negative 200. So let's start with 200.
Okay.
200 is the distance, equals.
So do I need the absolute value if I'm already applying a negative value
No,
there?
because I've written both negative and positive, I've already assumed the absolute value out of this problem.
Correct.
So solve this.
Okay.
So I'm going to subtract 750 from both sides.
Okay.
And I'm going to be left with negative 550, is that right? I think 200 minus 750 equals negative 550 equals 158t.
Okay.
Divide by negative 158 on both sides. And we have, oh, I probably need to do it for you, huh? Divided by 158. 3.4. or it's 3.48.
Okay,
So let's say 3.5.
Oh, it says 10.
Oh, round to the nearest 10. Read the directions.
I know.
What?
All right.
Okay, so round to the nearest 10. So
Okay.
3.48 gives me that. Okay, so there's
this
3.5.
was step 1.
Step 2
Mm-hmm.
is to do it with the negative. So it's going to be 3.5 minutes that way.
Mm-hmm.
Then it keeps going. Actually, I bet it's 3.5 minutes here, and then anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so then we solve this way, yada yada yada.
Same thing.
We end up with, whoops, that's not the right button.
So negative 950.
Negative 950 divided by negative 158.
Okay, divide by negative 158.
And I got 6.01. Round to the nearest
That was a
10th.
positive?
Yes.
Okay.
Round to the nearest 10th is 6.0.
Okay.
So my two times are 3.5 minutes and 6 minutes.
So time, t, it's right there.
Now,
So my answer would be, well, I see 3.5 and 6, and negative, positive. I know this one's not it because I didn't get those two numbers. And
That
then
one.
I see positive, positive. Now, Richardson, when we're dealing with time, isn't time always positive?
well, you can't have negative time.
So
Duh.
it's D by default, but we want to see your work.
Because guess what? We don't do the multiple choice.
No, thy multiple choice.
Okay, so now we're going to do one that's not multiple choice. So another friend's distance, D, from you, in feet, after t seconds, wow, sounds so hard, is given by D equals the absolute value of 80 minus 5t. So
that's given.
question number 1, what does the 80 represent?
Okay.
Back to the previous equation, that was where 750 was, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was how far away the float was. So in this, that's how far away the friend is.
Right.
So the friend is 80 feet away.
Right.
What does the 5 represent?
Time. No. Yeah.
No. That was where 158 was in the previous example.
Oh, so I
that's-
should reference. You want me to reference this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 158 feet, that's how fast they're traveling.
Speed
So if I go back here, so it'd be 5t, so 5.
is the speed,
Yeah.
5 feet per minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then at what times is she 60 feet from you? So again, 60 feet here
Okay.
and negative 60 feet here. They probably can't even see my arms. I'm
They
probably
know
like
it's reaching. They know,
60
they
feet,
see
negative
you
60 feet.
reaching.
Okay. So you do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. One positive and one negative.
Remember when you guys said you wanted us to do hard stuff in the videos? Your wish
Careful.
is my command.
Careful what you ask for.
Okay, so solving.
So negative 20.
Negative 20 equals negative 5t.
Divide by negative 5. This is not an inequality, so I don't flip any signs.
Nope.
So it's a 4 equals t.
So that would be 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Solving.
So I add that. So
140.
negative.
Negatives.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I meant.
Negative 5t divided by negative 5.
Positive 28.
Okay.
So my friend is 60 feet away from me at 4 minutes and at 28 minutes.
So
And
do I need labels and I need to apply all that?
Yeah. So there you go. Oh, seconds. Sorry.
Repeat it again. Seconds.
Okay.
Boy.
Okay, so now recall that absolute value is actually distance from 0 on a number line.
Right.
Distance,
So distance is always positive.
right, or non-negative.
Okay.
Okay.
You're going to say negative?
No.
So here, we need to solve this problem. So what we just said, keep it in mind. Our first step, again, we're trying to get that x alone.
Mm-hmm.
So our first step is to add 5 to both sides. This is what we've been doing
Hold on.
all along.
How come I can't do -6 and -5 and combine those?
Well, I have the absolute value, so that it's the absolute value of 3x minus 6.
So
So those are grouped together.
They're married.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now I have the absolute value of 3x minus 6 equals -2. Yeah, you can't have a negative absolute. Absolute value is always positive,
Right.
not negative. So guess what? It's no solution.
There you go.
There's a lot of talking for just one little thing. I could have just read the green words.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Okay.
So that's all you write. No solution. Absolute value of something cannot equal a negative.
That's it. So here's another one. So let's look. Okay, now should I distribute the 5?
Okay, I get that this is confusing, but you would not distribute the 5.
Because they're not parentheses.
Right. It is a grouping, but it is not
You
parentheses.
don't do because that does not mean 5 times. Anyway, just
Right.
whatever. You don't do it. So we're going to do minus 6,
Mm-hmm.
minus 6, and I'm going to get all that stuff.
Okay, so bring that down.
So 5 times, or 5 absolute value 3x minus 1 equals negative 3. No. Cannot have negative. No solution.
Right. Absolute value cannot equal a negative.
Okay, now here's where we go back to and or. Right?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
we can do this.
This page has a lot of information on it. If you would like to peruse through this and know the why behind what we're talking about,
Come back to this.
knock yourself out.
Mhm.
We're going to give you this so that you know. If you see on the left side, see how the absolute value of n minus 1 is less than 2? That is an and.
If it is greater than, that becomes an or.
Mhm. Right.
Let's show them.
Okay, what can you write? What do you write it?
Well, it says it in there.
Oh, it said, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I have a kid that says that in my class. Okay, so we're going to do this 2 different ways. We're assuming the absolute value out of this. So 8n is greater than or equal to 24.
So you take out the absolute value
And just leave it.
and write it the exact same way.
And then you do 8n is
Flip it.
flip the sign, less than or equal to negative
If you
24.
flip the sign, it becomes a negative.
Mhm.
Go back to that previous slide.
Or I know
For
that I
the
have to do
details.
a positive and a negative because
Right.
it's absolute value. So one's positive, one negative. When it's negative, you switch the sign. So then you solve, you get n is greater than or equal to 3,
Okay.
as well as, which is a fancy way of saying and,
Yeah. N is less than or equal to.
negative 3.
Okay.
And then we graph it.
Okay.
So,
So if I just did this really fast, negative 3 and 3, I would have open or closed circle at 3. N is greater than.
No, this is not an and, this is an or.
Right here, N is less than or equal to negative 3.
Close dot. So this is an or. Okay, we did it. No, you can't see that. There it is.
There you go.
Okay,
Remember, ors, you have to write them with the word or in there.
pretty. Okay. Okay, so let's do this one.
Got it.
This is greater than or equal to, which that's an and, right?
Well, let's see.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
So 5x is greater than or equal to 20. And then if I have it 5x less, it's the negative 20, you have to flip the sign.
You got it.
So this side's going to be x is greater than or equal to 4. That side's going to be x is less than or equal to negative 4.
So then if you graph that, usually if you go ahead and graph it, you'll be able
You'll
to
be able to figure out where you're supposed to shade. So greater than or equal to 4.
So closed at 4.
Bigger than's that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one's less than or equal to. So this is also an or.
There you go.
Okay, so you need to write or in the middle.
Thanks, Rich.
You're welcome, Whit.
Okay.
Okay. I hate this problem. I just dislike it. I don't really hate it.
No, but it applies to the real world.
We have to do it in 1 minute.
Okay, let's do it. So a professional athlete normally runs 1 mile in 224 seconds, like us.
Right.
The athlete wants to run within 6 seconds of the normal time.
So he wants to run 6 seconds greater and 6 seconds less.
Right. So what's the range? So we have, mathematically, here's how you do it. You have the time that he always runs. Oh, sorry, you have the ideal time that he wants to run.
Minus 224.
Minus the time that he
Does.
averages. We want that to be within 6 seconds. Adding 6, 6 added or 6 less than.
So then when you do plus 224 on both sides, you end up with 218 here, t in the middle, and 230 on the side.
Correct.
Okay, and it's time for the lesson check. So, we'll see you
On the flip side.
Bye.